Cowboys in Denver take on the Denver Broncos. Broncos coming off a thrilling victory. Cowboys coming off a decisive victory in Week 7. You want to talk about the Cowboys or the Broncos here?
We'll go with the Cowboys. And when you talk about the Cowboys, you have to talk about Dak Prescott, right? And I think the biggest challenge this week is working around this Broncos pass rush. That's one of the best in the NFL. They lead the league in sacks. Nick Bonitto's been great. Zach Allen, John Franklin Myers, all the guys that they have up front that can put heat on you, right? And I think the coverage unit for Denver hasn't been quite as good as we expected this year, but this defensive line has been outstanding. That leads us to Dak Prescott, who's been the best passer in the NFL under pressure this year. I think that's going to be a huge factor. 82.7 passing grade under pressure this season. Best in the NFL. Second in yards per attempt. Highest completion percentage. Most big-time throws. This has been a huge difference. And a Cowboy team that, to be honest, their offensive line, they've struggled in pass protection. They've had a lot of injuries, and they rank 29th in the league in pass blocking grade, and you're dealing with a really good Denver defensive line, again, that leads the league in sacks. Dak Prescott's ability to stay calm under pressure, make the reads like the veteran he is, and obviously you've got CeeDee Lamb back, came back and had a big game last week. George Pickens has been on fire. Jake Ferguson, you've got all these weapons to work with, and of course, maybe it's the Javonte Williams revenge game, but I think the biggest factor in this game in big moments is going to be when that defensive line wins the battle up front. Can Dak Prescott continue his hot play under pressure and expose this secondary that hasn't been quite as good this year as we thought it would be?
So when I look at this game, I look at what the Broncos can do on the ground, because they were able to really get it going as an offensive line this past week, but really they had not been before what we saw this past weekend. Broncos run blocking grade against the Giants, what we saw in Week 7, 82.0. That was their highest single game run blocking grade so far this season, specifically in zone blocking concepts. 88.4 team run blocking grade from inside zone, which, obviously could look a little bit like power because you're going between the tackles, but 88.4 inside zone and then 88.6 outside zone. So these zone blocking concepts, the offensive line all moving in unison in one direction, whether it's a short distance or a long distance towards the sideline, was working very, very well from the Broncos. And it just feels as though the rushing attack isn't quite what it could be with the offensive line in theory, the way that we think that the Broncos can run block the way that they have throughout this season, but specifically what they have been able to do in the past. The Cowboys run defense, 36.8 rush defense grade this season. That is dead last in the NFL, similar to the dead last that they were in 2024. Negative 0.010 EPA per rush. That's 27th allowed. When facing zone blocking concepts, they have that 44.0 run defense grade. And then when facing man and gap scheme or power scheme run blocking concepts, it's a 37.2. So they're actually better at defending the run when it comes to those zone rushing concepts. But I wonder if we'll continue to see the Broncos just leaning into that a little bit more. But until the Cowboys can stop the run, it's just going to be shootout after shootout after shootout. And just for fun, I saw your score prediction before I wrote mine down here in the sheet. You have the Cowboys winning this game by 1 point, 28-27. And just to have some fun here on the show, I'm going to say the Broncos beat the Cowboys 28-27. So I'm going to have the exact same score, one point difference, because I think that this game could be all over the place. It's kind of one of these things where I feel as though the Broncos could absolutely dominate the time of possession in this game. But when you got Dak Prescott on the other side, maybe that doesn't matter because they can light up the scoreboard. So I think this is a total coin flip type of a game. I'll take the Broncos, and then you're going to take the Cowboys here.
I'm with you. I'm on the other side of the coin there. I have it 28-27 written down with the Cowboys pulling out a win. I don't love the way the Broncos have started games lately. It's really taken them a full 3 quarters to figure out what they want to do on offense the last couple weeks, and Dallas knows exactly what they want to be on offense. Another side story here I want to focus on is the Broncos and their league-leading pass blocking grade. That offensive line has been so good in pass protection really for the last year and a half, and which of these edge rushers can somebody up front step up once again? They've had some veteran guys like Jadeveon Clowney and James Houston step up in situational roles. Can the Cowboys, I should say, find pressure on Bo Nix and make him make bad decisions late in plays? Can they get maybe an interior pressure going against the backup left guard, Calvin Throckmorton? I think the Dallas defensive line, if they can step up in this game against a really good pass blocking unit, I think they can make life a little more difficult for Bo Nix and not just give them the two-way go they've been given so many opposing offenses. But I'm going to take Prescott to pull out a tough road win. But I think this is one of the hardest games to pick of the week.
By the way, I just looked this up. I thought they were less effective with their running backs out of the backfield this year, but the Broncos still have the seventh most rushing yards from just their running backs. I thought that Bo Nix kind of would have helped in his, what he can add on the ground, and I felt like I really haven't seen a lot from the Broncos running back room, but seventh most in the NFL. Okay, that's better than I thought. So I think that kind of goes into my script of them being able to control the game to the point where you're keeping Prescott on the sideline, and then it comes down to, hey, can that secondary that the Broncos have, are they able to cover the Cowboys' offensive weapons at least better than what we saw last week with the Commanders? Which I know we'll talk about the Commanders a little bit more as the Monday Night Football team here in a second. By the way, we had some responses in the chat to what I was asking with what the favorite touchdown of all time was. Hold on, we've got. Said the first one. Donald in the chat saying of all time, probably the beast mode run. I always watch that one when it's played. Beast mode and I are both Lakeland, California natives, so there's a lot of love there. Shout out, Lakeland, California. And then we had another one. Which one was? Cyrus said the Demaryius Thomas one from Tebow in Pittsburgh. That's a famous one. That's fantastic. And then Casey Sayin said the Peyton Manning fake against Dallas for the TD run where he actually keeps the ball on a boot, where he just walks into the end zone because nobody thought the Peyton was going to keep that one. Those are some good shout outs there for a favorite touchdown of all time.